Supreme Court on the show. HP Ranina, coming to you on this big breaking that is coming in, what are the immediate legal implications for the promoters in light of SEBI's order?
Well, obviously, the promoters have to fulfill the requirements, and they cannot enter into any contracts or do any business. It all depends on what the order states, but they will have to strictly comply with the order. And to that extent, certainly it will affect the business interests of the company. But from what you have just mentioned, I think it's a very serious issue which has been raised, because things like manipulation, diversion, or trying to suppress records or trying to fabricate records is a very serious issue. So apart from other aspects like under SEBI law, there can be other, action could be taken under different other laws, especially, for holding the promoters responsible in case they have defaulted, defrauded, or done something which is illegal. So other laws may also come into play.
Right. And also, when we were talking about the implications, so could the promoters face criminal charges, or will this remain a regulatory matter?
No, that's what I said. It will have criminal charges. So there will be other issues involved that will be taken up in due course once SEBI finalizes its order. And that, of course, will go to the normal judicial process. That could take 2 or 3 years. But certainly criminal proceedings could be launched if it is found that documents have been fabricated.
All right. And also, what steps should investors take when a company faces regulatory scrutiny of this magnitude?
Well, obviously, investors will be wary. It is possible that there will be a sell-off. So we cannot say, but that's up to each investor. Of course, investors will be wary of putting in any more funds or investing in these companies. But even existing shareholders may try to, sell off, reduce their loss, because if they feel that the prices are going to come down, then definitely they'll try to sell off as soon as they can.
All right. I'm sorry, there was some connection problem there. But I have another question. I just wanted to know that how does SEBI's jurisdiction extend in a case like these? And also, could these orders be challenged in court?
Well, of course, SEBI's jurisdiction is there because it's a listed companies. Certainly, all listed companies come within the jurisdiction of SEBI. Whether it can be challenged, yes, of course, it can. They can go to the appellate tribunal, and that definitely is an issue which is there. Obviously, everybody will go in appeal, and from the appellate tribunal, it may go finally to the Supreme Court. But here is a question of fact, whether the documents were forged, fraudulent disclosures were made. Normally, courts will not interfere. They only interfere where there is an issue of law involved, interpretation of a law. But here, if a question of fact is there, then SEBI's, finding of fact will be upheld even by the higher courts. And if they've appointed an auditor, as you have mentioned, who will go into great details, a forensic auditor, then that will be a question of fact, which cannot be set aside by an appellate court.
And also, are these precedents for similar, SEBI actions, and how were those cases actually resolved? If you could shed some light on that.
Well, as I said, this depends on the facts of each case. It's all a question of fact. If there has been a fraud, if there has been something which has been suppressed, if documents have been, not properly shown, or they have been fabricated. So every case will depend on its facts, and there are no precedents in that respect. But all that I can say is that SEBI has been quite active in bringing to book any errant promoter, and in the past they have succeeded in several cases, depending on the facts of each case.
Sir, I'm Charu Singh from NDTV Profit. I am the reporter that covers SEBI and markets. I wanted to ask you that, considering the agencies have also come out in mails and said that, the documents regarding paying them back and documents in relation to them, in association to them with Gensol, are fabricated and falsified, what other agencies or regulators could get involved in their probe towards Gensol? Who else, could come out with an investigation or could look into it further?
For example, if the tax department feels that this has resulted in a false claim being made or that income has not been fully accounted for, then certainly the income tax department could also make an investigation before taking any action. And of course, it's for the government to decide whether they want to go ahead for any type of fraudulent transaction. So these are issues which each authority will take, having regard to the facts of each case. But all that I would like to say is that before any action is taken, a proper investigation is necessary. And once the investigation comes out with the correct facts, then the law will take its own course.
Mr. Ranina, and also, the complaint was actually filed in June 2024. So does the timing, of the action reflect regulatory delays or due process?
I would say it shows that the regulator has taken adequate time to ensure that whatever complaint was filed has been gone into. And only when they have found that there is some truth in the complaint that they have taken the action. So a 9-month delay is quite common for making a proper investigation. And it only means that a thorough investigation has been made. And that is why it has taken them 9 months to actually take action.
Right. And also, how does actually, affect the credibility of Gensol's past financial disclosure also, because the company, when they're disclosing their financial, performances, and a news like this comes after, let's say, 9 months. So, it actually points questions at their credibility also. So on that front, what do you have to really say?
Well, they can go into past action and they can reopen past accounts. And also the statutory auditors of the company may be asked to explain as to why they did not disclose any irregularity which they could have detected in the course of a statutory audit which they conducted in the past. So again, I think the statutory auditors may be also brought into the picture and they will be asked to give the explanation, especially if the forensic auditor now appointed by SEBI comes to a different view than what has been done by the statutory auditors.
Right, Mr. Ranina, thank you so much for speaking to us and, shedding light and also clearing out our doubts there. And thank you so much, Charu, for bringing us the story. And viewers, with that, let's proceed further with our show. Today on the show, we are joined by Avinash Gorakshakar on the fundamentals and Rajesh Bhosle on the technicals. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. We were actually discussing a news actually broke out regarding Gensol. So I would like to take your view, Avinash, on this. After the SEBI's interim order, how do you see, as per the fundamental, if we talk about the performance of the company, how it's going to be performing or impacting the performance of the company?
Yeah, good evening. See, my guess is that, once the SEBI order has been passed and a forensic audit has been, initiated, I think the markets would obviously look at it as a big negative surprise. I think tomorrow the stock will open with a gap down. There is no doubt about it. But I think clearly now, once the forensic audit starts, I think people would like to know whether there was some collaboration with the company, with the, statutory auditors, as Mr. Ranina mentioned. See, I think clearly, the markets would completely lose confidence on the numbers which have been presented by the promoters, because the authenticity of these numbers will be now under question mark. And I think this company has been growing very rapidly. I was just seeing the financials. They had a debt of almost 1,200 crores, on a net worth of 500 crores. They had made a very big QIP issue of 900 crores. And a lot of money was to come in from these QIP investors. So I think now that money is unlikely to come in very soon. They had also floated a 3-wheeler, automobile car project, which is yet to get commissioned. So I think, now markets are going to be completely confused and panicky as to how the company is going to move forward. Because till the time this forensic audit is not complete, the market would obviously look at it as a kind of a big corporate governance issue, and credibility, to get it back will take a long time. So I think, it's better to just stay away from the stock. And I think investors who can luckily exit tomorrow, I think they should think that they are actually lucky, because tomorrow I think there will be a huge amount of sellers on this stock.